How are you all today? It's a real pleasure. It's a real pleasure for me to be here today because coming into these conversations really brings me back home to the field that I belong to, a field that I have spent a significant part of my career in, and one that I believe is going to move and shake and reshape and recalibrate the Kenya that we want as we go forward. So it's a real pleasure for me to be here. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today I decided to come in hard copy, the one that I'll put on record, but don't worry, I'm highly digital and I subscribe fully. I stand before you today in the heart of Kenya's vibrant technology landscape, a landscape that has the potential to reshape our nation's future in profound ways, in more than one way. Our being here revolves around a pivotal theme: digital transformation in government. Yet, at its core, this theme is a testament to a larger narrative, one that speaks to the place for partnership between government and the private sector. First, we must acknowledge the critical role of government in this transformative journey. And I was so glad to come and catch in a bit on Phyllis's discussion. I had hoped to come in from the very beginning, just to listen to how this conversation continues to evolve, how it continues to granularize, because where we are at now, I must say, the beauty is in the details. And this is the conversation that we continue to involve ourselves in. The government is vested with the responsibility of shaping the ICT landscape, and as government, we are and we must remain the guardians of fairness and accountability in the digital domain. Moreover, we must really be in the space where close your eyes, make a wish, and capture that aspiration and put color to it. Because when I think back a few years ago, when M-Pesa and all these other monies, the mobile monies became available, it was unimaginable. But it had to take a close your eyes and bring it to life moment for it to be seen and the innovation from the private sector to be seen and then to be domiciled within the frameworks which government develops. And here we are today. We can't live without it. And I believe there is so much more that is out there to capture the aspirations of Kenyans as far as digital transformation goes. So government must be a policy enabler, an architect of regulatory frameworks that will go to foster innovation while safeguarding citizens. While doing that, it is important to obtain and observe certain principles, and Phyllis spoke to some. Keep it simple, keep it collaborative, foster innovation, encourage sharing, and go for centralization. So these are some of the principles that continue to evolve that we may be able to picture and capture the beauty of transformation on the digital realm. In recognition of this dynamism of the digital landscape, the government is committed to develop clear and supportive regulations that not only guide the ICT sector, but also create an environment in which they can thrive. Our aim is not merely to govern, but to enable and to facilitate the emergence of technology solutions that empower every Kenyan citizen. Just this past week, we saw the announcement of a team that will look into an enabling regulatory framework development. The Cabinet Secretary for ICT and the Digital Economy launched a working group on policy and legislative reforms for the sector, and I'm sure some of them might be present here with us today. This group will be required, among others, to review existing policy frameworks, legislative frameworks, institutional structures, administrative structures, and the like, so that we may be able to anchor a digital economy sector in Kenya and make recommendations that will move us to the future that we want. It is also noteworthy that the government is also at an advanced stage of developing regulatory frameworks, regulations to be specific, under the Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Act. And this will ensure that the aspect of detection, prevention of cybersecurity issues goes a notch up higher. I certainly resound with the theme, do not go it alone. Governments should never aspire to do business, and private sector is a frontline stakeholder for government as it develops frameworks. So when we look at the private sector, I see them as architects of innovation, the engines of job creation, and the catalysts of economic development. And I pose to then ask, what does the private sector see government for what it is? Because that way, we are then able to check each other out and see what role we play to each other and therefore lean in to make it happen. The private sector, and particularly technology companies, have not only transformed industries, but have empowered communities through their digital solutions, from fintech firms making financial services accessible to health technology startups and enhancing healthcare delivery to agri-tech companies revolutionizing agriculture. The impact is indeed undeniable. We note the true power of transformation, and furthermore, that it lies within collaboration. When government and the private sector unite, incredible things happen. Together, we get to pool resources, to pool expertise, to pool knowledge, and this collaboration is not mere synergy, it's turning ideas into reality. Together, we can develop innovative digital solutions that address pressing societal challenges, from healthcare accessibility to education equity and environmental sustainability. I did hear that in the first presentation by Philip, Estonia was mentioned, and I'd like to now go at it again and talk about a different aspect of Estonia. Estonia achieved its status as a digital powerhouse through leveraging of public-private partnerships. And this is a good model, and a model that we continue to look at and learn from. 5 years after Estonia's independence, 10 private and public companies formed a strong PPP, and out of this, they created the Look at World Foundation. Supported by telecom and banking interests, the project raised digital awareness and popularized the use of the internet and information communications technology, particularly in education, science, and culture. The initiative's first project aimed to bridge the country's digital divide by providing free computer training to 10% of the adult population. There has been no looking back since then, and today, Estonia is the world's most advanced digital society. Kenya is the home of the Silicon Savannah. I dare say that we are very well on the way to becoming an even bigger digital powerhouse in the region. What lessons, then, can we draw from Estonia? What can we learn from Estonia regarding collaboration between government and the private sector, and how to step in the right direction? Collaboration takes place in different ways. Recently, the government and the private sector collaborated in resolving the distributed denial of service attack, the DDoS attack on the eCitizen platform that happened over a weekend. It actually made me wonder, was the fact that it happened on a Friday uncanny? Or did it cross your mind that it happened on a Friday? I wonder whether that was by design. As the country embraces digital transformation, it is evident that this nature of collaboration will become even more important. It should become commonplace. We must also remember that digital transformation we envision must be inclusive, and it must be accessible to all Kenyans, in line with the principle of the 2023 Agenda for Sustainable Development. We must ensure that no one is left behind, especially those in remote and underserved areas. It is well appreciated that ICTs are a powerful enabler. It is for this reason that the fifth administration, in its bottom-up economic transformation agenda, has identified the ICT sector and the digital information superhighway, to be specific, as one of the 5 sectors that will form the core pillars of the Better Agenda. The initiatives earmarked for implementation by the 5th administration have already provided an opportunity for deep collaboration with the private sector. There is the construction of the 100,000 kilometers of the National Fiber Optic Connectivity Network and the local assembly of 1 million+ smartphones to address affordability for smartphones, especially for those within the income bracket where this will really be an aspirational issue. And these are just a few examples. I expect that the digital transformation agenda will continue to find itself in day-to-day living aspects for a Kenyan. It is appreciated that the digital highway will play a critical role in enabling us make tremendous progress in the other 4 pillars of health, agriculture, MSMEs, and housing. Here are a few examples of how the vision can be achieved in these specific sectors. And I invite you to reflect on what your role then is as private sector, coming alongside government to help it achieve its plan and its agenda in realizing the aspirations of the people. In health, the issue of health data management. This will entail creation of a secure and centralized health data system that allows for better monitoring of health trends, disease outbreaks, and healthcare resource allocation. This is envisaged in the Digital Health Bill 2023, some of which are actually on the floor for discussion. Even today, they are under discussion in the National Assembly. Going to agriculture, digital farming. The impact of climate change in the world, and Africa in particular, with respect to food security, calls for a radical shift from a sole focus on food crops that rely on rain to climate-resilient food systems. This, in turn, calls for a promotion of precision agriculture through the use of IoT, sensors, drones, satellite imagery, and the like, to provide farmers with real-time data on weather, soil conditions, and crop health. In housing, smart city planning, use of technology for urban planning to design sustainable and efficient cities, incorporating features such as smart grids, waste management systems, and efficient public transportation. The last one, MSMEs, the small and medium enterprises. As far as skill development is concerned, collaboration with private sector training institutions cannot be gainsaid. They will offer online training programs, upskilling opportunities for MSMEs, and improve their capacity and competitiveness. Government certainly cannot do this alone. It would require the collaborative efforts with private sector to make it happen. Indeed, technology sits at the nexus of achieving the vision of this administration to make Kenya a middle-income country in every sense of the word. Together, the government and the private sector can shape a future where every Kenyan, regardless of their background, reaps the benefits of digital transformation. Together, we can forge a path to prosperity, one that is rooted in collaboration, inclusivity, and information. Let us embark on this transformative journey together for the betterment of our beloved Kenya. I'd like to leave you with a quote from a Korean, Jin Kwon. I found this to be really resounding and speaking to the theme of today's conversation. One piece of log creates a small fire, adequate to warm you up. Add just a few more pieces to blast an immense bonfire, large enough to warm you up and your entire circle of friends. Needless to say that individuality counts, but teamwork dynamites. I think this collaboration should lead us to dynamite, and then we will see the digital transformation. Thank you very much.